How do I respond when it comes to injustice? Like, how do we respond as children of God when it comes to injustice? Do we get angry and have excessive retaliation? Or do we have righteous anger and still operate as children of God with mercy as well? Look, today, as we get into Judges chapter 20, especially coming after chapter 19, they're going to have to deal with this. And how do they respond when this happens? How do they come together? What's actually going to challenge them in understanding who their God is? Look, let's get right into Judges chapter 20. Come on in and join me. Hey y'all, I'm Kaela. Welcome back to His Word, My Walk. Let's keep going. Judges 19 was a heavy one. And let's keep going into chapter 20 because we've got to examine ourselves and how this happens in this one too. But how they come together. After the injustice at Gibeah, right, with the concubine and everything that happened with that, then all the Israelites were united as one man, from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south, including those from across the Jordan in the land of Gilead. The entire community assembled in the presence of the Lord at Mizpah. All of them. If you look on your map, from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south, and then including east of the Jordan. They're all included in this. They're all coming together. And they assembled in the presence of the Lord at Mizpah. What else has happened in Mizpah? I feel like we asked this question already in the book of Judges, but go back to Joshua even. What has happened at Mizpah? What is special about that location? The leaders of all the people and all the tribes of Israel, 400,000 warriors armed with swords, took their positions in the assembly of the people of God. They're coming together. They're coming together for a cause. Word soon reached the land of Benjamin that the other tribes had gone to Mizpah. The Israelites then asked how this terrible crime had happened. Look, this is on Benjamin's watch. Like, this is the tribe of Benjamin. Y'all are wrong, right? So everyone's coming together now. The Israelites then asked how this terrible crime had happened. Who's leading this? How do they all get together, right? There is no Moses. There is no Joshua. They don't recognize that they have a king. How do they get together? Who's actually the commander? Who's running the show here? The Levite, the husband of the woman who had been murdered, said, okay, so again, I want to be able to picture it. So when I read 400,000 warriors armed with swords, and then I read the Israelites then asked how this terrible crime happened, then the Levite said, to who, right? Who is this man addressing? It can't be the 400,000. Like, who's the commander here? The Levite, the husband of the woman who had been murdered, said, my concubine and I came to spend the night in Gibeah, a town that belongs to the people of Benjamin. That night, some of the leading citizens of Gibeah surrounded the house, planning to kill me, and they raped my concubine until she was dead. He's leaving out some details, right? He's definitely coming forward as I'm the victim, but he definitely didn't say, so I pushed her out the door, right? He's coming forward as I'm the victim. That night, some of the leading citizens of Gibeah surrounded the house planning to kill me, and they raped my concubine until she was dead. So I cut her body into 12 pieces and sent the pieces throughout the territory assigned to Israel, for these men have committed a terrible and shameful crime. Now then, all of you, the entire community of Israel, must decide here and now what should be done about this. What's my reaction? What's my reaction to injustice? What's my reaction if I were there? And I don't even have to say if I were there. We can look at things going on in our life, right? What is my reaction to injustice? Do I want to rise up with everybody else? Do I hear the other side's story? Do I believe it? And all the people rose to their feet in unison and declared, none of us will return home. No, not even one of us. Instead, this is what we will do to Gibeah. We will draw lots to decide who will attack it. 1/10 of the men from each tribe will be chosen to supply the warriors with food, and the rest of us will take revenge on Gibeah of Benjamin for this shameful thing they have done in Israel. Revenge. The rest of us will take revenge. Is that how I respond? Do I want revenge? Do I want to take revenge? I don't know. Should they have gone to God? Should they have gone to Shiloh and gone to the tabernacle? Should they have sought the priests? What do the priests think about this? This man's also a Levite. So all the Israelites were completely united, and they gathered together to attack the town. Is this the first time that they're actually coming together? Did it take that, getting that bad, for the Israelites to come together? The Israelites sent messengers to the tribe of Benjamin. They're not in it. The Israelites sent messengers to the tribe of Benjamin saying, "What a terrible thing has been done among you. Give up those evil men, those troublemakers from Gibeah, so we can execute them and purge Israel of this evil." I mean, to be honest, reading this feels like that makes sense, right? Feels like they should be put to death for what they did. Is somebody going to turn them in? But the people of Benjamin would not listen. Instead, they came from their towns and gathered at Gibeah to fight the Israelites. What? Remember the times that they're in, right? It's important for us as we're reading the Bible and as we're reading through the book of Judges to recognize how life was when they don't recognize their God. This is the Israelites. This is God's chosen people. When they don't recognize him as their God, look at how life gets. Now the Benjaminites are just like, we're not doing that. We'll come and fight you. We're not going to turn them over. We'll come and fight you. In all, 26,000 of their warriors armed with swords arrived in Gibeah to join the 700 elite troops who lived there. Among Benjamin's elite troops, 700 were left-handed, and each of them could sling a rock and hit a target within a hair's breadth without missing. Fun fact, doing like a word study and looking into that word missing, they could hit a target within a hair's breadth without missing. That's, where when we talk about sin meaning miss the mark, there's the word missing right there. Israel had 400,000 experienced soldiers armed with swords, not counting Benjamin's warriors. Well, of course, not counting Benjamin's warriors, right? Before the battle, the Israelites went to Bethl and asked God, which tribe should go first to attack the people of Benjamin? They keep going to God to ask him which tribe should go first. Isn't it crazy that it seems like they go to God when they want to, but then they don't recognize him as God in their day-to-day life? And maybe, just maybe, we can examine ourselves in that. Truly, they go to God. Before the battle, the Israelites went to Bethl and asked God, which tribe should go first to attack the people of Benjamin? Well, you could have asked me about life last week. We could have talked through a bunch of stuff. You could have recognized me as your king. But why would they go to Bethl? What's in Bethl? Who's in Bethl? How are they speaking with God? The Lord answered, Judah is to go first. That's interesting. Judah was to go first last time he said it too, right? So the Israelites left early the next morning and camped near Gibeah. Then they advanced toward Gibeah to attack the men of Benjamin. But Benjamin's warriors, who were defending the town, came out and killed 22,000 Israelites on the battlefield that day. 22,000 Israelites were killed by Israelites, right? The tribe of Benjamin that day. I would have thought that because it's the Israelites and they went to God and they're standing up for the injustice, that none of them should have been killed. This should have been a one and done. The battle is won. No? 22,000 Israelites on the battlefield that day were killed. But the Israelites encouraged each other and took their positions again at the same place they had fought. They encouraged each other and took their positions again. It almost seems like the Israelites are coming together now. Like they are coming together for a cause. That was so bad, so much injustice. Enough is enough. Who's going to speak up? Let's do this together. Let's band together. Yes, we may have lost the battle, but we're not going to lose the war. 22,000 of them were killed that day. But the Israelites encouraged each other and took their positions again at the same place they had fought the previous day. For they had gone up to Bethl and wept in the presence of the Lord until evening. They had asked the Lord, should we fight against our relatives from Benjamin again? Should we fight against our relatives from Benjamin again? And the Lord had said, go out and fight against them. How are they speaking to the Lord? Who's speaking to them? So the next day, they went out again to fight against the men of Benjamin. But the men of Benjamin killed another 18,000 Israelites, all of whom were experienced with the sword. How? How is this happening? How are they being defeated? Does it make you think back to Joshua? Like, where's the sin? Oh, it's all of you. It's all of you. Verse 26, then the Israelites went up to Bethl and wept in the presence of the Lord and fasted until evening. They also brought burnt offerings and peace offerings to the Lord. It seems like they're like, what do we got to do? What are we doing wrong, right? The Israelites went up seeking direction from the Lord. In those days, the Ark of the Covenant was in Bethl, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar and grandson of Aaron, was the priest. Boom. Keep reading. I'm telling you, those questions, why did they go to Bethl? Why do they keep going to Bethl? Why are they not in Shiloh where the tabernacle is, right? There it is right there. In those days, the Ark of the Covenant of God was in Bethl, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar and grandson of Aaron, was the priest. The Israelites asked the Lord, should we fight against our relatives from Benjamin again, or should we stop? The Lord said, go. Tomorrow I will hand them over to you. What's my faith like if I were right there? Defeated. Should we still go? Yes, you should still go. Defeated. Should we still go? Yes, you should still go. I'll hand them over to you tomorrow. How do I respond in my relationship with God even? You know? Like, lost, asked you, you said go. First of all, you said go. Lost, bad. And there were casualties. Then I came to you again, crying, and you said to go again, lost again, casualties. I come to you crying again, and you say, tomorrow I'll hand them over to you. Why don't you just say on day 3, I'll hand them over to you on day 1, so I didn't have to go through all this other stuff? Am I the only one who's maybe thinking like that? Do I have those kind of conversations with the Lord of like, why did I have to go through this and this to get here? Why didn't you just say, just wait till day 3? How come they had to go through this and this? How come they had to go through days 1 and 2? The Lord said, go. Tomorrow I will hand them over to you. So the Israelites set an ambush all around Gibeah. And again, it doesn't say like, so the Israelites questioned God. They're in. So the Israelites set an ambush all around Gibeah. They went out on the 3rd day and took their positions at the same place as before. When the men of Benjamin came out to attack, they were drawn away from the town. And as they had done before, they began to kill the Israelites. About 30 Israelites died in the open fields and along the roads, one leading to Bethl and the other leading back to Gibeah. Then the warriors of Benjamin shouted, we're defeating them as we did before. But the Israelites had planned in advance to run away so that the men of Benjamin would chase them along the roads and be drawn away from the town. Where'd they get this plan? Where did they get this battle plan? Do you remember the battle at Ai in Joshua? The second battle. The first one they were defeated. Achan hid the plunder. It was a thing. But the second one, do you remember how they won that battle? Do exactly as you did before. They'll chase you out thinking they won, and then turn on them. Draw them away from the town. Do you think they got that from like the playbook? Does this mean that they had actually started to read the word again? That they had actually started to meditate on the word again? That they got a battle plan from it? Maybe. Maybe. Does it mean that they're actually starting to turn back? They're actually starting to go back to what was written? Because they would have that by now. When the main group of Israelite warriors reached Baal Tamar, they turned and took up their positions. Meanwhile, the Israelites hiding in ambush to the west of Gibeah jumped up to fight. There were 10,000 elite Israelite troops who advanced against Gibeah. The fighting was so heavy that Benjamin didn't realize the impending disaster. So the Lord helped Israel defeat Benjamin. And that day, the Israelites killed 25,100 of Benjamin's warriors, all of whom were experienced swordsmen. Then the men of Benjamin saw that they were beaten. Okay, well, now what's going to happen? The Israelites had retreated from Benjamin's warriors in order to give those hiding in ambush more room to maneuver against Gibeah. Then those who were hiding rushed in from all sides and killed everyone in the town. They had arranged to send up a large cloud of smoke from the town as a signal. When the Israelites saw the smoke, they turned and attacked Benjamin's warriors. The smoke as a signal. Remember, we've read about the smoke as a signal. We've read about them burning the town. Have you understood and have you done some research into that phrase? By that time, Benjamin's warriors had killed about 30 Israelites, and they shouted, "We're defeating them, as we did in the first battle." But when the warriors of Benjamin looked behind them and saw the smoke rising into the sky from every part of the town, the men of Israel turned and attacked. At this point, the men of Benjamin became terrified because they realized disaster was close at hand. So they turned around and fled before the Israelites toward the wilderness. But they couldn't escape the battle, and the people who came out of the nearby towns were also killed. The Israelites surrounded the men of Benjamin and chased them relentlessly, finally overtaking them east of Gibeah. That day, 18,000 of Benjamin's strongest warriors died in battle. Wait a minute, this is a different day? Because did we not just read in verse 33, and that day the Israelites killed 25,100 of Benjamin's warriors? Is this a different day? That day, 18,000 of Benjamin's strongest warriors died in battle. The survivors fled into the wilderness toward the rock of Rimmon, but Israel killed 5,000 of them along the road. They continued the chase until they had killed another 2,000 near Gidom. So that day, again, same day, different day? So that day, the tribe of Benjamin lost 25,000 strong warriors armed with swords, leaving only 600 men who escaped to the rock of Rimmon, where they lived for 4 months. And the Israelites returned and slaughtered every living thing in all the towns, the people, the livestock, and everything they found. They also burned down all the towns they came to. So, who was in the right? Who was in the wrong? Right? I get that they're standing up for the injustice and they're standing up finally against, for our sake, the sin, the awful, right? But have they turned back to God? Have they turned back to God as their king? Do they know yet? Did they come back to his word? The injustices, they stood up and they banded together. And here's the crazy thing. It wasn't just on Benjamin. I feel like the way the Lord works, if it was just on Benjamin, the Israelites wouldn't have died too, right? But yet it was like, no, this is on all of you. You're all my chosen people, Let me give you today's Walk It Out challenge. Today, identify a righteous cause or a significant prayer request you've been bringing before God, but where you've experienced setbacks or delays. Rather than becoming discouraged or giving up, Commit this week to a disciplined increase in your prayer for that specific situation. Reflect on the Israelites' persistence despite their losses, and pray with renewed faith, trusting God's ultimate plan even when the immediate outcome is not what you expect. I look at the Israelites and they came back and so many died, 22,000, and they came back, and then 15,000 or something again, and they came back and they encouraged themselves and they kept going back to the Lord. Today, identify a righteous cause or a significant prayer request. Now, this isn't time for us to point fingers at others. This is for us to renew our faith in ourselves. This assignment right here. Rather than becoming discouraged or giving up, commit this week to a disciplined increase in your prayer for that specific situation. Reflect on the Israelites' persistence despite their losses and pray with renewed faith, trusting God's ultimate plan, even when the immediate outcome is not what you expect. Rather than becoming discouraged, pray more for that specific situation. Is there a situation that you've just become so outraged that you haven't actually prayed about it or for the people involved in it? And now that we're under the new covenant, the Bible is clear and Jesus was clear that we're to pray for our enemies. When was the last time I did that? Let me pray over us before we go. God, I thank you for your word. I thank you for the examples in history that we can see, that they came together. And even for things going on in our lives and in our days and in our countries and in our spaces and our cities right here, right now, God, would you help us? Would you help us to deal with it? Would you help us to give us guidance that we can rise up with righteous anger, but with also mercy? That it's not just about attacking and attacking and attacking, but that we will understand that we represent you, that we have you, that we are your children, and that we walk on this earth now with the example of Jesus Christ, where he said to pray for our enemies. Holy Spirit, would you help us this week to pray for our enemies? Those who hurt, those who do things that we completely disagree with, would you help us to pray for our enemies? Not just to pray in a way of what we think they deserve, but to truly and genuinely pray for them. God, I thank you for the one watching. I thank you for the one listening. I thank you for the heart that you have given them for justice. I thank you for the mouth that you have given them to speak truth. God, would you use them in a mighty way? And would you help them to continue to encourage themselves and those around you by elevating their prayer life, elevating how they speak up, elevating how they share this week, representing you every step of the way. In Jesus' name, amen. Y'all, I can't believe this. We only have one chapter left in the book of Judges. Well done. Let's finish it off.